Hello everyone, welcome to the GrowCast Show. My name is Yu Hong and I'll be your host for today. And today in our studio we have Serena Goh, founder of Goh Property. Let's get to our questions. Why are some homes getting multiple offers while others sit unsold for months?
So basically, this is quite a common issue in the market. In fact, a lot of clients who come to me after having their listing stagnant on the market for multiple months, when I took over the listing, I realized that sometimes it may be the pricing that wasn't priced correctly according to the market situation, or sometimes it's the agent did not fully maximize their marketing exposure. So they are not able to harness the bulk of buyers coming in together for 1 to 2 open house during the first 1 to 2 weeks to create this competition within the buyers themselves. And when I'm able to do this, I actually do help a lot of my homeowners set record price above our asking price sometimes and within a shorter time frame.
Many Singaporeans are scared of upgrading because of ABSD. Is that fear always valid?
In fact, it is true, especially a lot of homeowners, they are not comfortable knowing their timeline. In fact, a lot of clients that I reach out to, or when they reach out to me, I realize that they have a lot of uncertainty with regards to the timeline. To be honest, I do help a lot of them plan their timeline wisely so that they can transit from their current place to the next property without having to pay additional buyer stamp duty. So it's all about the trick of your timeline. So basically, the option exercise for your current house has to be before the option exercise for your purchase. With that timeline, basically, you do not have to pay any ABSD. And that's something that I realize a lot of consumers do not know. That's why they have this fear in them.
Are developers' final few units really the best deal for buyers?
So I would say it really depends on what you are buying it for. So of course, if let's say today you are buying for your own stay and you love this location, and this is the only last few units that you can buy into this location for the lifestyle you want, then I would say yes, this is the best deal you can get. But however, if there are other better alternative in the market, sometimes you may want to assess your option. So why I'm saying this, because I do help my client select a resale unit eventually over a balanced units from the developer. And in fact, over a time frame of 3 years, they actually make more profit than when they were to buy from the developer itself. The reason is because we are able to see the opportunity in the resale market within a similar location that can give you an unfair advantage of entry price which protect their exit eventually.
What's the number one reason a home stays unsold for many years?
Okay, sometimes it really depends. Sometimes it may be the house condition is really terrible. Like, have you seen an original condition? You know, you can see like the paint peeling from the wall, from the ceiling, all this thing. So previously, I also took over a listing where it has been unsold in the market for quite some time. What I did differently was I took over the unit, requested the owner to repaint the entire house, and then do some little touch up here and there to do some decluttering. And just that alone gave a buyer a different perspective of this house. And the offers came in straight away. So that's why I feel sometimes the number one reason for a property being unsold in the market is also because you did not present the best of the house to the consumer. So when you can't present the best to the consumer, they cannot visualize, the value of this property. Thus, the property will be sitting in the market for months. So basically for me, what I do different from most agents is I actually do give a client a home improvement or decluttering proposal to help them revamp their house so that it looks appealing to the buyers.
In a market with many competing listings, so how do you make one home stand out to the buyers?
So basically what I do differently from most agents out there is I do emotional selling. Yeah. So what thing that I do different, basically what I do is I do home staging. So what does home staging mean? A lot of people may ask me. Basically home staging is bringing in furniture that looks good, help the whole unit to present the better side of this property. So sometimes like especially a TOP projects, there are lots of empty units, vacant units, and a lot of buyers unable to visualize, how can they transform this into their home. So besides just doing 3D drawing, which most agents may be doing, I do differently by arranging real furniture coming in to let people visualize the space itself. And I also do emotional selling whereby I'll bring in diffuser to enhance the smell in the property as people come into view. So when you feel good, you see everything so beautiful, buyers are more willing to put up an offer. So after I took over the listing, I arranged for home staging, furniture to stage the house and everything, including the diffuser. So basically, this unit was just sold within 2 months.
Many buyers are worried that future interest rate hikes may affect their current property financing. So how do you help them plan safely for the future?
Okay, so in fact, this is a very valid reason a lot of people are holding back their decision, because we all know that the interest rate is at one of the lowest point right now. So a lot of people will be worried, hey, what happened, when the interest rate goes up? So what I do differently for my clients to make them buy with ease is to do stress tests on the interest rate. So I will do, let's say right now, the average interest rate is around 1.5%. So I'll stress test based on 2%, 2.5, 3%, 3.5, or even 4%. So I'll show them in the event when this interest rate goes up, will this monthly installment, the cost that you have to pay every month, is still within your comfortability, and your affordability. So most important, many a times we buy property, we want to buy safe, buy comfort. So just recently, a client came to me, have this concern. So I share with them, with this stress test I do for them, it gave them the confidence to want to leverage on the current low interest rate to buy into something that they really want to own. And they took action to make the purchase. And at the end of the day, they feel so good that they really thank me for doing this stress test, going the extra mile to do this extra step just for them to buy with ease.
How do Singaporeans upgrade from HDB to condo without wiping out their personal savings?
Okay, so a lot of people, number one, they have fear, coming to upgrade from HDB to private property. And the number one most important thing is, do they really have to wipe out their savings? Because from a HDB quantum to a condo quantum, there's always a huge gap. Yeah. So what I do differently to share with the buyer is basically that, hey, today, actually, are you able to leverage on the bank loan with this low interest rate to help you increase your mortgage, at the same time, afford your dream home? So many a times when client comes to me, like recently I have a case, a HDB owner, after I do the sums for them, I realized that actually they're overqualified to upgrade from HDB to condo. And truth enough, with all the assessment that we have done, eventually they move up to condo without touching their personal savings. And at the same time, they do have a lot of reserve funds that can last them the monthly installment for the next couple of years. So to be honest, the client feels so happy that they're able to make this move, and they realize that, why have they never thought of this to begin with until they met me? Because they say nobody actually shared with them that it is possible to upgrade without touching their personal savings.
Do property buyers sometimes focus too much on the prestige and lifestyle of the property instead of the actual profit potential of that?
I would say yes, but generally a lot of buyers who come to me, they will say, I want both, prestige and profit. But at the end of the day, a lot of buyers fail to see the data underneath lying all these properties transaction. So previously I had a client who came to me wanting to buy an atas location. Of course, because he feels that this atas location can bring him the maximum capital gain profit potential. So when I done all the numbers for him, in fact, with all the numbers, it proves otherwise, that there was actually a better product in a not so good location, not so atas location, that he could go into that could reap a better profits for him. However, he still choose to go ahead with this atas project because all the people around him tell him, no, you must buy this. This is a better location. With this better location, confirm can make better money one. The other location, you so cui, don't bother lah. So truth is, 3 years down the road, now when I show him the data, the profit difference is for the outskirt project that I was sharing with him can reap easily a profit of more than 500k, more than $500,000 in fact. Whereas the project that he insisted to go into, the atas project, can only reap him around 300k. Yeah, so what's most important is I actually share with him, I say, hey, you need to remember today you are buying for investment. You're not even staying there. So why do you want to spend a difference to waste on this lifestyle cost that you don't even get to enjoy at the end of the day? So after I shared with him, he told me, yeah, I know, I should have listened to you 3 years ago. But let's see what we can make the best out of it right now.
Does staying within 1 kilometer of a popular school really guarantee admission to that school?
So to be honest, it doesn't. That's what a lot of people do not know. In fact, I see a lot of home buyers buying house near the school just wanting to enroll their kid into that school. So I'll say it guarantees you admission unless today you are very confident for the past few years, this school has been undersubscribed. So many a times you need to check the history because I do have a 7-year-old who is going to primary school as well. So back then when I was searching for a school. So what I did was I also moved house. But the reason of me moving house to within 1 km to this school that I wanted was because I am an ex-student, and that gave me an unfair advantage. So truth is, if today you do not have any affiliation, you are not an ex-student, you didn't even do parents volunteer, it's very hard to rely on just the 1 km radius to hoping to guarantee your kid into that school of your choice. So of course, I always tell buyer before you even commit to a purchase that you may not be able to sell for the next 4 years, please assess your option. Analyze whether this school that you want to send your kid to, what is the probability rate of you getting your kids in? If not, sometimes buying may not be the best solution. You may want to work out your other options. Like to some people, they rent as an option so that in the event your kid doesn't get in, at least your rental contract is only 1 year and you can move out 1 year and you don't have to worry about the logistic of fetching your kids to a further schools that of your choice.
Why some buyers can afford a condo but not an EC?
So a lot of people come to me thinking that, hey, EC is supposedly their entry ticket to the private market. So they thought that EC should be the cheapest. If today I cannot afford EC, I wouldn't think that I'll be able to afford private properties. But the truth that a lot of home buyers do not know is that EC runs on this thing called MSR, mortgage servicing ratio. So what does it mean to consumer? Today when you buy an EC, your loan will be restricted. So assuming you earn a 10K income. So basically, the loan extended to you will only based on 35% of your monthly income, compared to private property where you can leverage up to 55%. So that is a drastic of 20% difference in the mortgage, in the loan that you can leverage from the bank. So sometimes this is what break the deal for EC, yet facilitate the deal for a home purchase for private property. So that's why I always tell home buyers, do not limit your choices first. Explore all options before you decide actually what's best for you. Maybe today buying EC, you end up having to pay a lot more down payment, where buying condo, it saves you so much on your down payment and you can still enjoy whatever lifestyle you want.
Many young buyers feel that they need to keep saving more and more before buying their first property. Is that always a wise choice?
To be honest, I also do have a lot of clients coming to me telling me that, hey, Serena, I just want to plan ahead first. Maybe I want to save up this amount so that, I can buy this dream home that I really like. But sometimes what they don't realize is over time as you wait. So assuming it takes you about 1 to 2 years to save up this money to just buy that dream home. But 1 to 2 years down the road, you realize that, I'm priced out because the property prices has all went up and my savings due to the inflation cannot cover the down payment for the dream home that I wanted. So in the end, they will miss the boat. So I do have a lot of clients who keep missing the boat until they tell me, say, hey, you know what? I think I will just take whatever is available in the market, even though if that is not my dream home. We just start small first and then we work towards our dream home eventually. So sometimes while waiting to save your money, you may realize that, initially I could afford a 3-bedroom. Then end up, while waiting, I end up only be able to buy a 2-bedder 2 to 3 years down the road. So I always encourage all home buyers to do your numbers first. Get something that you can afford first. Because with inflation, your property can help you move a step closer to your next dream home.
So a lot of property agents says that new launch makes the most money. Is that always true?
Okay, so I would say it really depends. Of course, generally, new launch potentially tend to make more money. But to be honest, all new launch projects, they are not made equal. So some may profit more, some may profit less. In fact, you'll be surprised if I were to show you data that there are new launchers who make losses. Yeah, so this is something that a lot of consumers do not know. So what I do differently to all my buyers is that usually I will go through the data with them to run them through the numbers and to share with them, actually right now, if to enter the market, what are the options? If there are so many new launches in the market, which can give us the lowest risk, yet give us a easier exit in future, one day when you want to sell. Because at the end of the day, when you are selling your new launch, it will be selling in the resale market. And buyers in the resale market react differently to what they are buying. So to me, buying a new launch, you have to look at your exit at the end of the day. One is your entry and then your exit. So I always plan this for my client. Today, whatever I buy, in future, I must be able to sell it for you easily, even when the market is bad. So after usually I run through the data with them, my buyers will be very comfortable buying into whatever new launch or even resale project that they can afford at this point of time.
Does buying a higher floor unit always mean a better investment returns?
Okay, so this is what a misconception that a lot of people would have. A lot of home buyers would think that today I buy high because developers sold me high ma. So definitely in future, I will be able to sell high or reap a higher profit at the end of the day. So many a times when I meet homeowners who are looking to sell their property, when I assess the data, show them the profit gains for their development, many of them are very surprised. In fact, for some developments, that lower floor units actually reap a higher profit compared to higher floor units. That's something that a lot of people don't realize, because in the resale market, buyer position it differently, and there are different units selling at different time. So when buyer look at a unit, sometimes they may feel that, hey, today I buy a high floor unit, I may not be able to enjoy the same view I get for a lower floor unit. For example, today you buy a pool facing unit, you buy 12th floor, 13th floor, even 20th floor. But truth is, at a 12th floor or 20th floor, are you looking into the pool or your neighbor's block? So this is something that a lot of people don't see when they buy a unit. Only when in the resale market, they see this, then they realize, oh my God, I actually overpaid for this prime pool facing. And these will eat into your resale proceed at the end of the day. So buying a lower floor unit may be different because you get to enjoy the pool, the landscaping of this development, which may interest the buyer more, and they may be more willing to pay.
Many buyers feel discouraged when they get a bad queue number at a new launch. What can they do differently?
Of course, a lot of home buyers, they just think that, hey, today I like new launch. I just go and ballot and queue for it. If the queue sucks, if the queue is bad, terrible, then I just move on. So recently, we have a buyer that has missed 6 new launches, basically because his queue is really terrible. And truth is, all the 6 other agents that serve him for the other 6 new launch did not follow up with him. Okay, so what we do differently after hearing his story is we realize that he hasn't been leveraging on his unfair advantage. Like a lot of home buyers do not know, for some developers, they do allow VVIP priority purchase. So for example, if you have purchased a property that under the same developer, they may give you an advanced queue number compared to the general public queue. With this piece of information, it actually allows home buyer to get ahead of the queue number to select their choice unit first. So this buyer actually missed another project in which he was supposedly have that priority purchase because he doesn't know, and no other agent shared with him this. So what I do differently for all my buyers is I will assess whatever connection that they can pull, whatever strings that they can pull that can put them in a priority spot to help them go ahead of queue. And then during balloting, we also assess based on the queue number, and at the same time, we will explore the options on what other opportunities are there in the market so that you don't just miss the development for the sake of missing it.
With so much uncertainty in the property market now, how do buyers make safer decisions for themselves?
Basically, many a times I always tell buyer, do not just walk into any show flat, any property and just buy because you like it. So for my side, what I do differently is I always share with client data, a lot of data proven that can help them make a sound decision. Say today, if let's say this development is actually selling at a price tag that's cheaper than the neighboring projects. So this may give you an unfair advantage when you enter the market and when you want to exit the market in future. It makes it easier. So recently, a client came to me thinking that, he can only settle for what he still have at the moment, which is a 2-bedroom in an outskirt area. So when I shared with him the potential, in fact, there is a brand new development. The price tag is selling as close to EC price, despite it being a private condo. So this is something that he did not explore because he felt that he wasn't in the market. He's already over and done with property. So until I shared with him, then he realized that, actually, I could potentially go into this development because it is so safe that the price is so near to EC price. So this gives him the assurance to enter the market and give him a peace of mind that at the end of the day, 4 years down the road, he wouldn't have to worry that whether he'll be able to exit or not.
Based on your experience, does freehold properties always make more money?
Sometimes there are many other components that attribute to whether this property can make profit or not. So many a times, a lot of people buy into freehold, especially I do have a lot of clients who like to buy boutique developments. So a lot of people think, freehold ma, cheap ma, because it's boutique. But what they don't see is the high maintenance fee that they have to pay. And then at the end of the day, freehold property, you are free to hold, I'm free to hold. All your neighbors are free to hold for the longest time and nobody wants to sell. And today, when you need to sell and the market is bad and there are so many options out there, so the bank valuation will not be able to match whatever price that you want because there's no past transaction to reference to. So this actually shocked a lot of my homeowners when they want to exit their property years later after they buy into this freehold. So a lot of people always regret at the end of the day, but I always tell them, so at the end of the day, you need to assess your option. Sometimes freehold do give us a better profit, but are there actually better alternatives out there in the market that can protect your exit in the future? So this is what I assess for all my clients.
Many people say that buy near MRT, confirm good investment. Is that always true?
Okay, so I have to say it depends on what's your objective of buying this property. So if you're buying this property just for rental, then I'll say it's good. Because typically, tenants rent because it's near the MRT station for the convenience. But unfortunately, in the real truth is sometimes this MRT may not be able to give you the capital gain that you want. So I do have a client who bought a property that's so near to MRT station, just under 5 minutes walk. And it's a mixed development. So over the past 10 years, the client came to me to ask, hey Serena, why everybody tell me say buy near MRT station, sure confirm can make money. But over the past 10 years, this property never appreciate much. Then I say, yeah, exactly. So we also need to assess because this development, it's 100%, I would say close to 100% like an investment product because in this development, there are only 1 bedder, 1 plus study and 2 bedder. That's it. So a product like this, sometimes you cannot get big families who want to buy into this location because sometimes it's the family who is willing to buy into convenience like this, who is willing to pay a premium. Whereas the smaller units, you're only getting maybe single couple who is not so willing to spend. Maybe most of them, if let's say the location is not so fantastic, I mean the price difference, I'll just buy a car. Why do I need the MRT station? So that's why I always assess for all my clients. I share with this client, I say, why not let's look at, what are the other options? If let's say rental is not your priority right now, we do not need to focus on MRT station to decide whether this property can make the best for you. So we explore the options, making a sound decision through all the data before you decide what you want.
Sea view condos are often seen as premium properties. So are they really worth their price?
So I'll say it depends. This sea view property, are you buying for your own consumption or are you buying it just for investment? Yeah. So if it's for your own consumption, you love waking up to the sea view every single day. Then I say, yes, go for it because it's a lifestyle cost. You don't have to go to Bali, to just enjoy the sea view. You can just enjoy every day at your own home. However, if today it is for investment, what's shocking to some people is recently actually one of the homeowner came to me. He bought a sea view facing. In fact, this development, they have sea view, they have city view. So he went to this development together with his boss. So typically you follow what your boss say, right? If your boss say it's good, typically most people say, since my boss says so, why not just go for it? And truth is, after he buy this sea view facing, when he wants to sell, he realized that the profit that he's making is actually lower than the city view facing for the same type of property. So sometimes it's, at the end of the day, it depends on the entry price as well because today, this client has overpaid for this sea view. And when he wants to exit, buyer don't see why I want to pay such a high premium just for the sea view when I can still get a nice unblocked city view. So this actually eats into his future capital gain. So at the end of the day, this client decided to, heck, I'm just going to cut loss and move on to a better property that I'm willing to park my money.
Is it true that property agents make good money just by opening the doors for viewing for customers?
That's what a lot of people think. In fact, a lot of people do not see what goes behind the scene that we prepare the house even before we open that door for consumer to see. So I also have a client who came to me. His house is in an original condition. The house is so messy with lots of things packed in the house and the color of the house doesn't showcase the property. Basically, this property has good space, but because the choice of colors, dark green, dark orange, it makes the house look so much smaller. So when this client came to me, I shared with him, in order for us to help you gain, easily 4 to 5 digit increase in your selling price, you have to work together with me, So what we did differently was to assess the market first in terms of the pricing. Thereafter, I gave him a detailed proposal on how to declutter. So what he did was, because he has so many items, right, he need to move his things out of the house in order to give space to this house. And then we arrange for repainting, touching up, all the necessary thing until the open house. And true enough, we were able to sell this house within 3 months at record price, all because of the legwork we done behind the scene even before we opened that door.
Do you really need to buy on launch day to make maximum profits on your property purchase?
So this is what a lot of misconception a lot of people will think. But at the end of the day, it also depends on your queue number during the launch day. And what are you buying? If you buy without a plan, without data, without any analysis, you may buy into a high price on day one of launch because you are buying using your emotion. So even for me, what I personally did was my previous development, I bought it post-launch, after launch. So something that a lot of home buyers do not see is when you buy into a development with post-launch, you have the full data of what has been transacted. What are the prices, between you and your neighbors. And truth is, when I sold my property, my profit margin for the same type of property in this development was the top 10 profit margin that I could reap, even though I didn't buy on launch day. So it all comes down to the data analysis, which is what my strength at, something that I'm really good at helping my clients because I've done that for myself. I've done it to multiple of my clients. A lot of my clients, they just come to me to select unit for them.
So that's all the questions we have for Serena. Stay tuned for the next episode.